All right, welcome to Inside the Fight Podcast, episode 2. Here we go. I got a good friend and training partner and student here, Juan Goins. We're going to talk here, right? He is training for his first amateur fight, right? He's going to be
Yes.
fighting kickboxing here. Before I get started here, right? Juan, before I get started, I want to be out and open. I'm labeling this as your first fight,
Yes.
saying as your first fight. But truth be told, you had a previous fight, what we call in martial arts here, smoker, right? What
Yes.
it is for those who don't know what a smoker is, it is a exhibition with two gyms or a get together. They have like a sparring match between two people to try and simulate as much of an actual fight as they can without it being an actual fight. So you did have what was it, one or two of those, right?
I've had two kickboxing smokers
Two
and
maximums.
one boxing one.
And wow, yep. So you had some smokers, right? Some organ
Yeah.
or what I like to call or like an organized sparring one-on-one match
Yeah.
with somebody else fresh. But this is going to be your first sanctioned fight coming up here soon. You're fighting
Yes.
in the Waco Kickboxing Nationals here at the end of February here, right?
Yes, sir.
So before we get started in that, man, I just want a little bit of your background, man. How you got trained and how you got started in martial arts. You know, I know you had a little bit of wrestling background. How did you get started? What was your first?
Well, I started off boxing. I don't really
Okay.
talk about that a lot. When I was
All
real
right.
little, my dad, we used to hit pads and then go to different gyms and, gym rat, go here and there. Hey, my son could fight, give him some work. It started off little stuff like that, and took a long time off, pretty much from like sixth grade all the way up to high school, and found my way into wrestling. Did not want to at first. I thought it was gay. Um, just being honest, I was like, I'm not gonna touch another guy in tights, and I wanted to play football. That was my passion, and didn't make the football team because I was too small. And I just kind of sat around in the gym, and wrestling coach was like, "Hey, you should try out." And one day, one of my friends convinced me to go and try out, so I did it. And first time getting slammed on my butt, nothing gay about it. And I just fell in love with the sport from there. Call me crazy, but yeah, 3 years of wrestling for high school, and then another three more after high school, just on my own with my high school coach doing freestyle. And out of high school, I thought, the dream was find a gym, go to the gym, train, be in the UFC. So I found a gym at the time was Cal Crawl MMA and
Yep.
Fitness,
Hmm.
and Tony DePiero, an old coach of mine,
Yep.
an old student of yours,
Yep.
and Codeine Roth, old coach of mine, pretty much just walked in and said, "Hey, I want to be in the UFC." And like, who is the hell is this kid? So yeah, yeah. So right after wrestling, jumped into an MMA gym. Um, didn't know you needed money at the time. I just thought, hey, you get trained for free everywhere. It's not the case. So picked up a job and just every day just kept coming. Then Tony trained me pretty good. John McGinnis, another old coach of
Right.
mine, came in and he's like, hey, let's get this guy a smoker. And the rest is history. After that smoker, it was just I knew this was something I loved to do, just combat sports.
That's awesome, man. That's real awesome. So John and Tony are black belts of our gym at Rising Dragon MMA, and so that was a real good. So all in all, on and off, you've been training for a little bit of time, right?
Oh yeah. When I first got started, life was simpler at the time. So, just a guy fresh out of high school, got a job, a little apartment, not really much responsibility. So it was just religious training. So I was able to cover a lot of ground, and there wasn't a lot of people at the gym as well. So I was able to get a lot of one-on-one time with the coaches and learn a lot. Like I said, I was just consistent every day. Asking, hey, can I stay over a little bit after this practice? And we work on this. And I was just a gym rat. I was in there constantly grinding, constantly working, and it was great. There was not a lot of people there, so I got a lot of one-on-one time with great coaches, and then I got introduced later on to the OGs of Rise and Dragon,
Right.
and made my fight IQ even better, having you guys come up once we moved to old school iron.
Right.
Um, just it was a great group of guys. The guys that came in, Tobias was one of my favorite partners. He beat me up all the time. So just being with guys like that made me grow a lot faster than I should have, and just staying consistent in there. Like I said, I just fell in love with it right out of high school. Jumped into the gym, and like I said,
Awesome.
young kid, not much responsibilities. It was always in there. So
So I know you said you were looking to fight MMA right out of high school,
yeah.
right? But who did you look up to? What were you watching the sport? Like, where were you at as a fan? What made you like? When I was like, were you following the fighter? Did you see a fight? Did you just, you know?
Well, so start my love for martial arts came from. I know this sounds cliche. Probably everybody says it. The movie Bloodsport.
Okay,
Um,
all right. That's one of my
Jean
favorite
Claude Van
movies.
Damme. Always watched all his movies with my granddad, but I didn't know that MMA was a thing. You know, um, watching Van Damme, I was like, man, I want to be a martial artist. You know, you hear karate, taekwondo, and as a young kid, those things are like magical. You don't think they exist for real.
Right, right.
And then you go to these rec centers, and you know, there's always some guy who claims to be a black belt in this. No one's ever heard of him. So I was in and out of those, but I never knew MMA. So my uncle invited me over to watch a UFC fight. Had no idea what UFC was. I thought it was just a game that I had. Honestly, I never forget. Forrest Griffin was on the cover. I thought it was
Oh,
just a
you had the
game.
game. All right.
Yeah, I just thought it was a game. So he goes, "You want to watch a UFC fight? Sure." I'll never forget. It was GSP versus Carlos Condit, I believe. And I remember
Okay.
watching it's GSP's comeback fight after like 4 year layoff. And so he's giving me the backstory. You know, GSP's the traditional martial artist. You know, good looking guy, cut up. You know, and I'm just like, wow, this guy's making things look magical, hitting Superman punches, spinning back kicks. His jab was on point, and just the whole event in itself, I was just like, this is a real thing. Like, this is crazy. Then, so GSP was the guy I looked up to after Jean Claude Van Damme. So, beautiful internet started researching UFC. Who is this George St. Peru guy? I don't know what the hell, how to pronounce his name. And he was just my idol. Everything he stood for was everything I thought mixed martial artists was, you know, honor, respect, and training hard. And he came from a similar background like me, you know, poor kid, you know, got picked on, worked his ass off, and he's one of the greatest martial artists of our time now. So he's the guy that got me into martial arts.
That's
Uh,
awesome. You seen GSP and was like, this is it. I got to do this stuff, right?
oh man, just everything matched up. His backstory, I just related to him. And there was other guys on the card who I was like, damn,
Right,
I
right.
wish I could be like him. But George St. Pierre, he stood out to me, and everybody who knows me knows I'm a huge GSP fan.
Went to the gym, was like, this is what I want to do, right?
Yeah, I want to be
Yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. One of our old students, you know him, from Frank Carabello.
Yeah,
When he first started, we were on the west side. He literally, this was back in the day when Blockbuster went out of business. He came with a bunch of old USC DVDs that he purchased, that he watched every minute of every one. He came, sat him down on the front desk, was like, this is what I want to do. I'm like, I just kind of looked at him like, well, okay. So I can relate to where you coming from, right? Coming into the gym, bright eyed and bushy tailed, right? Ready to
yeah,
get your training on, right? So that's good, right? So what I like to do, what I'm going to be doing here in this podcast, I've been bringing on different people talking about their backgrounds in martial arts, some all different levels, some all different styles. I want to give a lot of value to people who listen and watch this. If they watch it on YouTube or Facebook or listen to it right on the podcast, I want people to get different perspectives, right? So
right.
why I asked to bring you in here, you come in, you training for your first your real first fight, right? Your first
Yeah,
sanctioned event, right? And it's going to be a national amateur kickboxing tournament for Waco coming up here in Tennessee. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about your, you know, of how you handle in training, right? For those who don't know, you know, you work full time, right?
yes.
Uh, you know, you work crazy shift, work crazy hours, got a wife, family, and kid, new kid. Congratulations, by the
Thank you,
way,
thank you.
right? So that's number 3, right?
Number three. Yep,
And
that's
the
it.
ages, what was the ages again?
3-year-old girl,
Three.
about to be 2-year-old boy, and then the
Boy, yep.
newborn.
And the newborn, man. Brand new newborn, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. Three. So I just want to just talk a little bit about how you juggling being a dad, a husband, working, working full time, trying to train, come in your skills training, also trying to lift and maybe do cardio, anything extra too, right? I just want to talk a little bit about how you handle the good and bad, or how you handle it and how you juggling it. First I'll talk about work, or just briefly, what like you work during the days, work during the nights, or
So I work
like what?
third shift, and
Third shift. I can
as you know,
relate.
that's a horrible shift to work for
Right.
a family guy, an athlete. It sucks.
Yeah, I currently work third shift, so I understand, bro. I'm just keeping it real, right? So you work
Yeah.
in third shift, you're training in the evenings, right? And you
Yep.
got a brand new newborn right now. So you got three kids and a wife, man. Just like how you handling all? Like, how do you just you writing stuff down? Are you like, how are you just through the week? Or are you just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go train this day"? Like, what? Can you give me just a little insight on that? Like, what do you got other people? Why I'm bringing this up, because I know there's other people who may have been training for a little bit, maybe for a few months or a few years, or maybe on and off, and now they taking things serious and they're like, look, I want to compete. Maybe I want to go to a tournament. I want to fight in the cage. I want to do a grappling match. And they're nervous and they're trying to juggle training too. So I figured no one else would be able to relate better than that than yourself. Right.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Two major points it comes down to is prioritize. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you get 24 hours in a day, and a guy like me who has the family, the job, everybody has bills. You have to use all those 24 hours wisely if you want to do this sport. Second point is the sport itself. This isn't, tiddlywinks. This isn't tennis. We're trying to inflict damage on another human being. I mean, that's just
Let's
what it
keep it
comes
real,
down
right?
to. Um,
Tiddlywinks.
yeah,
You've
you
been hanging
can't.
around us old people too long, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just keeping it real, man. You've been hanging us around as old people, man.
But it's not a sport to take lightly. I mean, you can really get yourself hurt, just playing MMA. You have to. This is something, especially the tournament that we're getting ready for. It's you have to fully commit, and I feel like I've fully committed, the best I can. So getting back to the original question, it's prioritizing those 24 hours. Of course, you're not going to make everybody happy. That's in the sport of MMA. If you're being serious, you're not going to make anybody happy. Your kids are going to, be upset sometimes. The wife, she's always upset. They always want that quality time. But in my case, um, the wife understands this is something I'm very passionate about, something I've been very passionate about since the day we've met. And thankfully, she stood with me throughout, this journey, and we're finally moving forward with it. So my day, pretty much a day in the life of Juan is, you wake up after the night of wrestling around with the newborn, eat breakfast with the fam, spend time with the family, and then around like, mid-afternoon, I get that first training session, and whether it be cardio, lifting the weights or working on the bag. Luckily for me, I have my own home gym of, weights and crazy equipment I've acquired over the years. But working out at home, and even before when I didn't, basic stuff, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, go on runs, work, and especially if you've been training for a while, the basics. After a while, especially towards the end of the fight, it's all basics and routine. So your jab crosses, your footwork. This is all stuff you could do without anything or anybody. So
Right.
I get it in how I can, But for this camp, it's cardio, really focusing on the output. Eat lunch with the family, spend time with the kids, help the wife out a little bit around the house. A couple hours later, get that rest and go to training, to actual practice where I'm at Rising Dragon. Get that work in, and this is the hard part. Once I come home, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, got to eat, take care of the baby if she needs to. Pretty much just relieving the wife of her duties.
Right.
If
Right.
she, putting the kids to sleep. When the baby wakes up, I take over, clean the house up a little bit. Um, So just prioritizing my day. It's so far it's working for me, especially getting towards the end of camp here. I'm coming to more practices, training a little bit more on my own. So time with the family is getting shorter and shorter, but she respects it and knows that, like I said, I'm passionate about it. Not always happy. There's sometimes there's that argument, hey, just stay home. No, I think someone's going to be trying to kick my ass in a couple weeks. I got to be ready. But
shout out to the wife.
oh
Got a
yeah,
good
for
tag
sure.
team partner there.
100%. Yeah, and that's it's a big part of why I do what I do. This is a dream of mine. It's something I want to pay the bills with, and she understands that. So I'm making sacrifices, spending time away from them, and my sleep schedule is all crazy with the third shift. Um, I didn't even throw that in there. So yeah, so
Right.
after practice,
Yeah,
sometimes
bro. That's like 20 hours, bro. When you sleep, man.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah, you get it in when you can. My whole thing is it's a mindset too. You got to know not everybody's gonna like you for what you're doing in your family or your support group. In younger guys' cases who maybe not have the family, your friends might, dude, all you do is practice and train. Or if you just have the girlfriend, she might, hey, why are you always training? You're not spending time with me. So you're not gonna make your friends, your family happy all the time. But if they understand this is something you want to do and this is something you want to do, you make the time for it. That's something, like I said, this wasn't all just happen overnight. I mean, this was years of training and trying to work it out. Life hits
Right,
you.
right,
So I
right.
I've had my ups and downs, but all this was just experience. I've learned how to prioritize my time. And I think it's actually easier when you have a goal like a tournament. I got this
Mm-hmm.
much time to get this much done. It puts me in it. I'm like a puzzle. I'm able to put all the pieces together. So I knew that, uh, like 6 months ago, that Waco was in February. Okay, this is what I have to do. We sat down, talked about it, and just prioritized the day. And so far it's working. It's not perfect, but it's working. And you add the whole COVID thing on top of that too.
Oh
You know,
man.
it's it makes things a lot more complicated. So the
Right.
at-home workouts are very vital to me too, especially on the days that I do leave for the family. I have to get that
Mhm.
training session in still. So
Right, right.
it's all about prioritizing your day. And when you like I said, in the sport we're in, and you have a date, you start breaking it down. Those 24 hours, you got to make the best out of them.
Awesome, awesome. So, I'm a coach, right? So I say this kind of stuff all the time, but I want to hear your opinion, bro. Your honest opinion, right? I know there's someone out there listening to this right now, like, hey man, I hear this guy, but I got this going on. I don't have a home gym with some stuff at. I get a lot of questions, right? I'm gonna give one question to you right now. They don't have no home gym, right? But they need to they want to do some extra training or any kind of training. What can they do? Give us some things. I know you mentioned a few, but give us a little bit. Let's say, for instance, you were training or not training. That's not the issue right now. What could they do at home to help supplement their training from your
Um,
perspective?
and from my perspective
I
and
know we talk
experience,
about it in practice a lot, but go ahead.
yeah, especially we're sticking to our sport, mixed martial arts, kickboxing,
Hmm.
any combat sport. It comes down to repetition. I mean, you hear coaches say it all the time. I mean, you're a big advocate for it. It's the reps you get. So whatever you use in practice, a big thing I used to do in wrestling was write it down. Whatever takedowns we did, and drill those things. So your problem is footwork. Do some footwork drills. Make this. You don't need anything at home to do footwork drills. Find a line or the squares in your kitchen. Start doing the Ali shuffle. Start doing the ins and outs. Go outside and just do it back and forth on a line. Conditioning wise, push ups, sit ups, running,
Right,
shadow boxing, emulate a fight. How you preach to us all the time, emulate the fight, work your defense. Um, Shadow boxing is a huge part, especially you don't need anything but your hands. Put your gloves on to add some resistance. Throw 100 jabs, throw 100 jab crosses, work those combinations that you do, and it helps. It seems to the person that hasn't been doing it, you're excited. You want to be in the gym. You want to hear the pads going. You want, all the
right,
drill
right.
partners. But in the world we live now, you got to be self-sufficient. And shadow boxing, work on your kicks, find a pole, and just use that as a target. For the longest, I couldn't afford to train.
Right,
just
right.
the way life hit me. So I would just do the basics:
So,
jab
so,
cross hooks, repetitions.
no.
And as I got further in my career, those are the things that I was winning in sparring matches. My last smoker, the very basics is what I won the fight with. It comes down to, you can't do the advanced stuff, the spinning roundhouses and the back flips, turn around takedowns, whatever it may be, if your jab cross ain't working. So those are the things you can work on. You know, Air squats. You don't need a beautiful facility to become an elite athlete, or to become an athlete at all, or to be good at something.
Right,
You
right,
you
right.
got you gotta, once you go without something, you really want it, you have to find the ways to get it done. You got to find a way to get it done. Not, COVID hit, it closed down the gyms. Nobody anticipated gyms closing down. You got to find a way to get it in. You got to be innovative. Go online. There's tons of great fighters out there that put their content. Hey, this is what I do during the COVID time, or and
Yep.
they're in their basement, no weights, no bag, that just their bodies. You gotta find the ways.
And you touched on it briefly. My next question was going to be, I get this one a lot, man. I get a lot of message, and I ask for them. So, and I'm not upset by them, because I ask and I give people my honest opinion, right? Being a martial arts, lifelong martial artist, and coaching and helping the everyday Joe to fighters from amateur to professional level, I get I get a few questions. I'm going to hit them with you, and I'm going to ask all my guests who are either training or a coach. They're all opinions on some of these questions, because a lot of them are universal, man. And then the next one would be, Coach, I'm too far away from an MMA or Muay Thai or boxing gym, right? Or you already hit it, I can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I can't afford it, what can I do, right? And I know, and this is what they do right away, because this is, some of the people I know through friends of friends. Some people just stumble upon me. I'm not that popular, but people find their way to me one way or other, and I get a lot of messages on Instagram and Facebook. And one is, I know they go on YouTube. They like, I go on YouTube, and but I can't afford a gym. What would your comment be if someone asked you, like, hey, Juan, I can't afford a gym, but I want to train. I eventually want to fight, but I can't afford to. Uh, I can't afford a gym, but I want to train to fight. What would your answer be to someone like that?
In my very humble opinion,
You've been
um,
through it, right? That's why
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
asking you, and it's your opinion, because you literally, as you said before, you've been through it. There was points and times in your life where you couldn't afford a gym, right?
yeah,
Or you had trouble, you couldn't afford the gym. I don't even want to know how you even got there, right? You're like, and that's the next thing, man. I don't even know that we didn't even get to that, right? You talking about I
you're
can't
right.
afford the gym. First thing in my head is like, man, how's he even gonna get there, bro? If he
Yep.
can't even afford it. So, touch on that from your opinion, from your perspective.
So, and this is a pretty unpopular opinion for people who aren't as passionate for it. So, first things first, you need to sit down, say, how bad do you want to fight? How you really sit down, like, how bad do you want to get into a square or an octagon, a circle, and have someone else put their hands on you and you try to do? How bad do you want that? How bad are you willing to go through that? That's number one. For me, it was really bad. I wanted to compete. I wanted to see if I could be one of the best martial artists in the world. That's my goal. Two, you have to sacrifice. And I got a lot of
Mhm.
backlash from my family, because there was times where, and this was before having a kid, but it was a little different as when the kid came in. But
Right. Everybody in different stages.
um, there was times where I didn't pay my light bill just so I could pay the gym membership. There was times where I didn't buy groceries, um, just so I can go and train with the drill partners I know were good, with the coaches I know that were good. And Tony would tell you, if you guys ever talk to him, I was coming in back in the cow crawl days,
Yeah.
with change in my pocket, just paying the daily fee. Hey, I got $10 in quarters. It's how bad you want it. I would it's sacrifice. I would There's times I would catch a bus or two to get to practice, because instead of gas money, I would use that for my gym fee. It's all about sacrifice. Now, when the kid came in, I had to bring that ambition down a little bit, but I still found a way. Everybody has somebody that needs an odd job around the house. when I got to working serious hours at a automotive shop, or when I moved to Lowe's, the overtime was always there. It sucks, but it's funny. I was always tired at work, but once it was time to go to the gym, I was cool.
Yeah, I know, bro. I think
But
everybody like that.
yeah, but it's all about how bad do you want it, and people say they want to fight all the time. I want to fight, I want to fight, and it's not an easy thing. So what are you willing to do to sacrifice to get to the gym, to put in those hours that you need? And good training's not cheap. If you and not saying that you need to go to the highest gym, outlined in gold and silver, and pay thousands of dollars. No, but I'm saying you get a coach that's very really invested, knows what he's talking about. No, that's going to come with a price, but like I said, it's worth it. Think of it as an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm paying these guys to teach me, and I believe in what they're teaching me. So if this is what I want, they know that's what I want. I know what I got to do to get it. Um, so I would, like I said, man, I did whatever I could, scraped whatever chains I could. I've even sold some stuff. There was a very low part in my life, but I was like, I got to get to the gym. I would even sell some stuff just to pay that month. I was like, all right, I got that month paid. I know I'm going to get some hard training.
Right.
Go work for the next month. As far as getting there, they used to
How
be
did you?
huge, man.
you,
A
you
huge
said you couldn't pay
excuse of
their
mine.
stuff. So that what? Look, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This,
Lay it
this
on
was
me,
a
because that's the excuse to everybody.
Yep, this was a huge excuse. And so for those of you that know me, I live on the west side. My Our gym's on the east side. That's not a fun drive for me, but I get there. But anyways, this is when I learned not to use that as a damn excuse anymore. Going back to my idol, George St. Pierre. He lives in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
I already know. Go ahead.
Just as a resident. He would drive, I think it was to somewhere in New York, just to
hmm
get mat time. He didn't
hmm
know much English, and he would give the guy quarters, dollars, whatever he had in his pocket just to train. He would just get, here, train. And I'm like, this dude would do that every day. His coaches told this story in his documentary, Takedown DNA of GSP, I think it's called. But
I think that's
he
where he's
would,
doing jujitsu in New York.
yeah, but he would drive hours, take buses, trains, whatever he had to do every single day from Montreal in the snow to New York just to go train a couple hours, 1 or 2 hours. And I was like, I can drive 20 minutes to the east side. I can do that. It's no problem. So that's anybody that tells me, oh, it's too far of a drive. Nope, that's not an excuse. If you want it, it's not an excuse. I mean,
It's funny you bring that up, because I remember, I don't know if it was on a documentary or not, but I remember him saying about, like, back in when he was fighting, before he even got put on the UFC, when he's fighting in the local shows up in Canada. He was talking, there was no MMA gyms back then, right? You
yeah,
understand? Like, he went here for kickboxing, Muay Thai. He went here for his boxing. He went
yep,
train with his national team for his wrestling. He drove down here for his jujitsu, right? He didn't have like a real, then he had like a coach, but he didn't really have like an MMA coach. And he definitely didn't have anywhere where he can do more than one thing at, right? So we
right,
talking like just 15, 16, maybe even like 20 years ago, there wasn't like, very seldom was there a place where you got like more than one thing at one place. So
yeah. It
he
wasn't
was
mainstream yet.
driving. Well, yeah, it wasn't mainstream. He was driving wherever you could find a gym almost any corner now. But
Yeah,
back then, he used to hike,
yeah,
to find
and
a
and
jujitsu gym.
and lots of fighters too. You hear about them. I hate. I don't like using guys on platforms that often because, of course, you hear them now and it seems so
Right,
easy.
right,
But
right.
but this is a guy who's been through it. If you want it, you'll go there. I remember driving my bike to old school iron because my car would always break down. I didn't have money to buy the car because instead of paying for the car, I would pay my gym membership. There's been times I've jogged to practice, or catch a ride. There's some people, hey, I'll give you $10. You take me to practice with you, or drop me back off. You got to find a way, find an excuse to do it. But yeah, after I heard GSP was driving hours just to train for 1 or 2 hours, and if he could, because the place would be so packed with guys that live in the area, sometimes he couldn't make it in. So it wasn't even a guaranteed training session. I'm like, I can drive 15, 20 minutes to the east side to go train. So it's never too far. It's never too far.
That's awesome. And here's a third one that may or may not apply to maybe past experience, or maybe not. right? So this is another third. Well, actually, a couple more, but this one may, I want to see what you think, right? So another one I'm looking at here right now is I have a couple. Hi, coach. I have a couple of different gyms by me. One MMA gym, one Muay Thai gym. He doesn't say what he wants to compete in. He wants to fight, but he doesn't really know what gym. He trained from the looks of it back and forth. He trained at a few, trained at each, like two or three of them, a couple times each, right? And he doesn't know which one to pick, right? He's asking me. I don't know the names of them, right? But he's asking me. I'm asking him other questions, but he's asking me what should he look for in the gym he picks, right? He's looking to compete, obviously, right? He ain't
Right,
looking to just train for self defense, right?
right.
So what
Um,
things you were in his shoes? I know your first gym, you went to the first gym, was like, look, I want to do this stuff. Now, years later, there's more, there's a lot of gyms around in most
yeah,
suburban and big cities, right?
yeah.
So what
So
would you look for?
I'm gonna backtrack a little. So when I first started, I didn't find Cal Crawls out of the blue. I
Mhm.
went to a couple different gyms. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to become an MMA fighter. That's one. So for him, know what you want to do first, and
Okay.
you
All
don't
right.
have to do just one thing. Try them all and see what works for you. There's guys that get
Right.
punched that thought they wanted to fight. And they go, you know what? I want to do jujitsu. I like jujitsu better, and there's nothing
Hey,
wrong with it. You
there's nothing
know,
wrong with that.
you gotta find what works for you. Um, so two, don't go to gyms just because they have a name. I'm not gonna mention any gym names, but I went to a couple who are big out there in Cleveland, Ohio, and not only were they super expensive, but they weren't for me. I didn't feel comfortable there. When we sparred, I'm fresh. I'm a freaking meathead wrestler. I don't know how to throw punches and kicks properly. I'm almost getting my brains knocked out in my first sparring sessions. That's not for me. I also went to gyms where I didn't really agree with the coaches. Like it didn't seem like that was right. There's just as an athlete, there's something in my gut that told me, that doesn't seem right. So eventually I found Cal's and the coaches. I vibed with them. We were on the same page. That they had what I wanted. So it's all a personal thing. But the most important thing is know what you want from a gym. Do you want more of a
Right.
one-on-one thing? Do you like more sparring partners or drill partners? Do you want to do just self-defense? Do you want to join a fight team? Do you want to do just jiu-jitsu? Do you want to do MMA? Do you want to do it all? So first, know what you really want to do and try it, and find what gym works for you. That's more of a personal thing. Because there's big gyms out there that you can't go anywhere without seeing a billboard with their name advertised, but that might not be the one for you. And I've learned that firsthand. There's 1 week trials, 2 week trials, or you even pay a month places. You got to find the coaches and the gym for you. Like the environment I was in, luckily, going from gym to gym, all you guys train together. So it was like I've connected with all of you. So, but when I landed at Cal's, I had Tony and John. Then I moved once Tony left. I went to Old School Iron, and then I had John, and then eventually I went to Rising Dragon. These are just coaches I'm fine with, So you got to find what's best for you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I just wanted to know your little tidbit on that, man. I agree with a lot of stuff you say. I always tell people it's not necessarily to look for the best gym around. Find the
Yeah,
best gym for you, right? And it's hard when you don't know what you don't know, right? And it's kind of hard. But like you said too, I like what you said. It didn't feel right in your gut.
yeah,
Sometimes we know, like maybe what's being taught there is good. Maybe the atmosphere just isn't vibing for you. So I heard two good things. You were vibing with the coaches. Boom. That was a good one. I'm always big on that, making sure that the community and the atmosphere, right?
yeah,
You go to it may be a good gym, and maybe it's just not for you.
yeah,
And you said try things, right? So I'm big on everything you said because you say, hey man, I want to fight MMA and blah blah blah. And you go and you start training like, man, I like this grappling stuff, right? I
yeah,
just like
yeah,
slapping arm bars on fools, right? That's just my thing, right? And I have people who come in and like, man, Coach, I want to do MMA. I want to do MMA. I want to do MMA. And they start striking. I'm like, bro, I don't want all of that. I just want to box. I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like, I don't even want to kick anymore, bro. This is all I want to do. It's all I want to do, right?
Yep.
So I've had a little bit of both from a coaching standpoint, right? So I can definitely relate to that. Like, try it out. You really don't know. You think you know, but not until you do it and you taste a little bit. It's like tasting food for the first time as a
Yeah.
baby, right? You don't know. They just stick it in their mouth and like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
They start crying like, no, bro, I don't like that, right? You don't
Right.
know it until you try it. All right.
For sure.
So that's pretty awesome, man. All right. Um Now, what about your training routine now? Getting ready for the tournament, right? You're a little bit out. Um, I know you're doing things on your own to supplement your training and coming to the gym regularly and putting in the hard work. I can tell there's a lot of guys as a coach. When I say a lot of guys, I'm talking about the competitors,
Right.
not the everyday people. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the people that want to compete, that want to fight, that want to go pay their hard-earned money, that want to put their body out there, right? Put them out
Yeah.
there on the line, right? I can tell the guys who's going home and working on stuff or training, and the guys are not. Not that it comes like every single day. They come in the next day, they're just like a completely different person.
Yeah.
I can tell as a coach, the people who put in, there's been guys who've been coming like once, like twice a week, right? Right. And they've been working their ass off. And they only been coming twice a week. And I'm like, shit. Man, I'm like, man, this dude putting some work in, right? He's
Yeah.
going home, or he or she is going home and they either working on the drills or they taking what I told them to. They going home and they really working on it, right? It might be their kicks coming out better, it might be their or they just got their road work. There are, I believe the coaches can tell, man. You like, yeah, I've been running, I've been doing this, yeah, I've been doing, and I'm like, bro, it's been like 6 weeks, man. You still gassing on the second round. I don't know. Like, I don't think you're doing too much, right?
Yep.
So coming from a coach's perspective, man, I'm just telling everybody out there now that the coach see people, they see you on a
Yeah.
regular basis. They can tell. They tell like fighting, competing in martial arts, being inside the fight, right? I like the name, obviously. But it doesn't lie, man. When you in there, you can lie to your coaches, you can lie to yourself, you can lie to your friends, you can lie to your family members. But when you go in there, man, the truth speaks for itself, man. The truth comes
That's
out, man.
that's why I gravitated to mixed martial artists or mixed martial arts, combat sports period so well because growing up it's all about who's the biggest, and I was always a small guy. In MMA, there's no lying. Like you said, I can tell you I do this, I lift this much, I do this and that. But in MMA, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, it's you and the other guy. So all that crap you were talking that you did, it's gonna show. Like you said, it's been 6 weeks and you're still gassing out, but you told me you're running. I could tell,
Right, right.
you know. Yeah, and that's why I love MMA. But getting back to the question, yeah, we're 2 weeks out and some change, so just right now it's more about just the repetition. I mean, 2 weeks out you're not going to learn anything too significant that you're going to use in your fight, so it's more of just finding your groove, your combinations, your style that you like to use, and putting it to work, getting the reps on it, um, being conditioned, working a lot more on your conditioning. Before I was training a lot of 3-minute rounds with like a minute 30 off. Now that we got the international rules, we're going to be fighting 2 minutes on, maybe 20 seconds off, I think it is. Emulating the fight, I've been doing a lot of on my own, just
No,
output on the muscles, just real conditioning and strength and conditioning pretty much, outside of the gym. Now, as we go to the gym, we're working on reps, we're working on our combinations, finding ourselves, what type of style we like. So, yeah, that nutrition, strength and conditioning, that's pretty much these last 2 weeks. That's all it is, just staying healthy and working on what we use in a fight.
and I heard you say this a couple of times, so I want to point it out. The individual, now am I going high level? So I just want to just give me your opinion from your viewpoint. And you're one of our students, and these are things we talk on a lot at during train or at the end of practice, right? And we incorporate into our system of how we teach. But I want your view on it, right? You kept saying your style, your style, your style, right? Everybody in the same gym may be working on boxing, maybe working on Muay Thai, maybe working on kickboxing, right? Or jujitsu. Can we speak a little bit on how that person finds their individual style? I don't get a lot of questions, but I got a few within the last year. Like, hey, I'm trying to dabble in a little of this and that and find my style. I know you watch GS, you watch a lot of MMA, right?
Yeah.
How do you come training, right? I know you train, you kind of feel your body. Do you watch like other fighters? Do you just take like sources? Do you just take a little bit of everything, keep something like for you, from your perspective, how did you start to find like your style
Yeah.
into the kickboxing system we teach?
Well, so obviously GSP is a big idol of mine. I wanted to fight exactly like him. Like I wanted my kicks to come out like him. I throw the Superman punch like this. I wanted to be GSP. Um, Learning later through failure, GSP did thousands of reps and different things, and that's how GSP fights. Now I might have a similar style, but there's certain things GSP does that I don't do or I don't like to do. And you find that out through time. Everybody learns the basics, your jab cross hook, your front kick, your side kick. Everybody learns that. Then you make it yours, play with it a little bit. And that's where the repetitions come, the sparring comes, you hit something. Ooh, I seen this. Let me try it. That's why practice is fun. That's where you try the crazy things. That's where you make the mistakes and practice and you find out what works for you. Like there's a lot of things, my Hulk Hogan big boot. You in Taiwan hate it. You guys hate it, but it's something that I seen. I couldn't tell you where I picked it up. I know I was watching Glory Kickboxing and I seen it, and it was just something when I wasn't able to go to the gym. The gym was something I worked on. You know, my coaches hate it, but it's working for me. So
Hey,
that no, keep doing
I
it.
brought it. I brought it up to your attention because I
Yeah.
wanted you to know that I'm watching. And I didn't. I call it the big boot, right? It's kind of hard for me to describe what it is. Obviously, it's a rear leg, front kick, turned side kick
Yeah.
slash sliding, and it doesn't like, Coach, what are you talking about? I
Yeah.
like rear leg front kicks. I like from the back leg. I like there's parts of the technique I don't like personally. It's not
Yeah.
exactly how I teach it, but Taiwan nor myself, we don't get high, like on a high horse. It's not fundamentally wrong, but more importantly, during the sparring engages, you make it work. That's the most
Right.
important, right? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of coaches out there, right? This is for coaches too, and for students. You need to learn the basics. You said over. Remember, you got to learn the basics, right? But as I like to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Even though I don't
Yes.
like that saying per
Yeah.
se, but there's more than one way to do something all the time, right?
Yeah.
So there
And
isn't
that's
only one way to do something.
right. And that's going back, to a couple questions ago, the gym. I like a gym, I like coaches where they don't try to make you a specific fighter. They're not trying to make you a robot. They take what you got and the basics you have and then they implement, some ways that you might like. They try to make you your own fighter. There's not you won't go into the gyms I like is not you go into everybody throws a jab cross hook the same exact way. For me personally, I don't like that. You guys have never tried to change the way I fight. You've made it fundamentally right and made me help me guide me because you need coaches for this. Guide you into the style that you like to fight. Okay, well, you throw that this way, try it this way, and oh, that works for me instead of that way. Like you said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's you got to find it's hard to say it a different way. You got to find your style, and that's only
Right.
through the sparring, the mitt
Trial and
work.
error.
And even if I learned this back in my wrestling days, I hate, for those of you that know wrestling, I hate doing sweep singles. There's something about my body being, going around another person's leg. I don't like sweep singles, but I practice it because I have it in my back pocket. I may not use it, but there may be a time, hey, something's not working, I still know that move. As long as it's not hurting you, you know, it's not bad to learn. Like, hey, I might not throw that punch that way, but if I need to, it's in my back pocket. We still drill it.
Right, right. And so, like, I like to think the way not that our system slash and or the way we teach our striking system is unique in the way I don't want to say, and I'm not trying to knock anybody out there, right? We're not your typical, I call them combo coaches, right?
Yeah.
Your typical combo coaches, you're just sitting there and all you're doing is combos over and over and over again, and just more fancier and just building off of more combos and fancier combos. Don't get me wrong, combos is creating patterns is very important in any combat sport that involves striking. But what I mean by this, like I teach like techniques that are more suitable to big guys. I teach techniques and strategies more suitable to smaller guys. I
Yep.
teach techniques and strategies more suitable to taller or longer guys. I teach, and why I do that is being a smaller guy and you work on that strategy and technique, you may never use it because you most likely always the smaller guy when you're fighting, but it will help you learn how to defend it when someone uses it against you, right?
Definitely. Yes.
One of our students, here is going to bring Big Mike all the time, right? For his size, he's super athletic, right? For a short duration of time, he can do stuff that you look at him body wise, you're like, bro, he can't pull that off. In a sparring match, he can.
Yep.
But he can even move very well for a heavyweight. But he can do a lot of lightweight stuff. Maybe not as good as a lightweight, but he can do it. It may not make practical sense for him to fight that way.
Right.
But if he needs to use 5 seconds of that in his fight, he can do it, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
you
still in
say,
his
he
back
has it in
pocket.
his back pocket. He can pull it out like, man, you know what? I can pay with this right now, right? So
Yeah.
that's one aspect that I'm really on, right? And in the beginning, I'm real sticky. Like, only do it this way in the beginning because to stop bad habits, right?
Of
People
course, you
from
need that. You
forming
need
bad
that
habits,
baseline, that starting point that
right?
everybody's gonna do.
And it kills me. I'm not going to bring up names. I had a guy. He had some previous training though, so I'm not bashing him. And he got a lot better since then. Came into the gym. He had some previous training. And we were doing some drills. I don't know if we were doing pad work. We were doing pad work too and drills. So he kept super lean and heavy forward. And I knew what he was trying to do, even though he didn't know what he was trying to do. Right. And he was like, he was doing, I'm like, man, you need to blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, just so you have your base right when you're throwing your punches. Then in the drills, he was like leaning. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to bait him. I'm like, to do what? Like, okay, you bait him what? To punch me. I'm like, oh, I understand that. And then do what? And he really didn't have an answer. Like, oh, hit him back. I'm like, I get that, but how? Like, what? Explain to me really quick, briefly. It was not part of the drill, but explain to me, what are you trying to do? If he would have been
Right.
like, oh man, if he was trying to work on the technique, even though it wasn't part of the drill, I would have walked away and kind of left it alone. But he didn't really have an answer. He was like, debate him to what? I'm like, okay, to
Yeah.
do what? So I can hit him back. How?
And
Why? Like what? I'm like, you don't even understand about pulling and baiting and how to suck people in and rope people in and counter. And you don't even understand the basics of the strategy yet of let alone the technique, right? So
right. And for everybody wanting to do mixed martial arts, either to compete in the sport itself or just to learn it or for self defense, it's not just punches just to throw punches, kicks just to throw kicks. Knowing the reason why you're doing that, why it works, why it doesn't work, that's half the battle right there. Punching is just half the battle. It's the other portion of it is knowing why and how these things work. Or if you don't understand it, it's never going to come out right when you need it. Whether it be in the fight or self defense.
yeah, and of course, we had something to say. We didn't go in hard on the guy, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's someone you probably know. We didn't go in hard on him, but we kind of giggle like, all right, man, just We get it. Just do the drill of what we're doing for the sake of doing this drill, just to learn this new skill, right? And speaking of training, a good training we were doing too. And I meant to say it at the end of class. This is just something I noticed as a coach. And this is for everybody that's listening who train martial arts. I call them you extras, the extras, right? You doing the extra, right? Meaning y'all might be working on a drill, a technique, a strategy, and everybody's taught to do it the same way. And you taught that at first, so you have a baseline, right? Let it be
Right.
something that can be complicated. Something that plata, it can be, a complicated combo. It can be just a technique, a counter. We working on that technique or that combination or that strategy, and they add in extra out of maybe they're bored, regardless if they got it or not. They trying to throw moral, but they didn't even get it right. I'm like, they're
Right.
trying to they're trying to do algebra. You didn't learn how to do addition yet, and you
Right.
didn't even
Right.
know how to do addition or multiplication. You're trying to do algebra 2, right?
Yep.
We ain't even, you just skip long division and algebra 1, all this other stuff, right? You didn't skip geometry, you didn't skip all this other stuff, and now you're like, man, I'm ready for like calculus. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, like slow down, right? We can get there. And another point to the people who are extra, right? And this is my opinion. No, it's not my opinion. It's from what I've seen over training myself and being a coach now for over 20 years, for coaching people now for over 20 years, not just being a martial arts. I've seen that the people who can focus in on that skill and that drill during the whole duration of them having to do it with their partner or whatnot, when they have to compete or fight, and when it hits, I call when the shit hits the fan. Those people, those individuals, those guys and girls, they can stay in tune better, right? Like they
Right.
don't get flustered. So I've been, look, I got so into this like 2 months ago. I started writing down names of people who I trained like 16 years ago, just randomly, of people that who did this on a regular basis. And I looked at all those names, and every single one, when they competed, when things didn't go their way, like they couldn't focus. Like they were
Right.
just get mind blown. Like,
Yep.
it was hard for them mentally, not physically. They couldn't get back on track. And I like to believe that the people who can't focus in on that drill, you just doing the drill for 2 minutes and you can't focus doing a drill for 2 minutes, man. That's like
Exactly.
my little 5-year-old, 6-year-old class, right? When it comes to fighting this chaos, when the chaos consumes the fight and it's not predictable or something crazy happens, the little bit of focus they have just gone. It's just
Yeah.
out the window, out the bill is gone, and it sometimes may never come back. And all those, I'm being honest, and I bring this up because we just had a training session today, and we did have one person being extra today, right? I ain't gonna call him out on here, but he know who he is, right? And I meant to say something at the practice, but it's just now coming to my mind now. So this is coming. I want all you other coaches and all your other competitors and people who just out there training, I want you to look. Don't be that extra person. This is just my opinion. I just feel like if you can't focus doing that thing, you can't get it for 2 minutes before you add something on, I feel like you're going to lose focus in the fight when it doesn't go your way too, right?
Yeah.
If you can't focus just doing whatever the combo, it could be something simple, and you're like, man, coach, I'm getting bored. And subconsciously, I could be like, man, I've been working jab crosses, bro, for like almost 30 years, right? I'm like, man, how
Yeah.
many different ways? As me, I'm like, bro, I'm in a seminar. Like, how many different ways can I throw a jab cross? But you know what? I've been in a seminar myself. One, I paid to go to the seminar from this person. So I'm gonna do exactly what he told me to do, even if I've been doing this particular way he taught for 25 years, the same way. I'm putting everything into. I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. I didn't lose my mind. I didn't add anything on. I didn't get slick. I didn't put my own little rhythm on. I
Yeah.
didn't put my own little bam on the technique or the style. I just did it. And then guess what? He adds something on. He adds something on. He add a little. And they were just little minute things. But I learned why I saw, he didn't explain of why he was at no more. And I immediately like, man, I can use these each way at different times. And like the end product of just throwing the jab cross, I learned a new way of executing, or a new way of setting it up, or new philosophies about something that's simple I've been doing almost half my life, right?
Right.
So, but if I would have been like all over the place and I think I may have missed in this particular seminar of this kickboxing legend, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
right. Just and I just feel that way. That's just as a coach.
When
Not that is a pet peeve, but
when you have coaches, if you trust them, and especially getting ready for a fight, I would hope you trust your coaches about to put you out there. But there's a method to the madness. Just follow it. Stay focused and follow it. Because like you said, things could get added on that you're, oh, that's where this is leading. When you got good coaches, it's step by step. Believe in the process. It's a process. There's a
the
method.
process,
Yeah, there's a method to the madness. I mean, there's been things that I've come back and we've been working very basic, and then you add it onto it. I'm like, oh, that's why we were tuning up that, or that's why this works with this. Um, Me, I'm just a student. I don't question it. You guys point, I go. But staying, like you said, stay focused on the technique, on the drill at hand, because it goes right back down to repetition. You have to have reps and reps and reps. If you're lacking in one area, how are you gonna move forward? That might be the thing that you need to get to from A to B.
right, right.
So it's just stay focused. There's a method to the madness. Trust your coaches.
The
Trust the
process.
process. Yeah.
I like that. Trusting the process. Um, Even we touched on it a little bit in the beginning. We was talking about goals, man. And your goal of the fighting in the tournament, and was keeping you consistent with all these other minor goals. But man, I think the value of short-term goals are really, really just underlooked, man. It could be
Yeah.
something small, like, hey, man, we think something big and grandiose. So, like, man, I want to be the UFC champ. All right, that's
Man.
good. I'm not hating. Or I
Yep.
want to go to the UFC. Or I want to let's do micro goal. Like,
Yep.
and the reason why I like mini goals, like small mini goals, is I'm big on momentum. I'm always
Yes.
in my life for consistency, for uh, uh, in a fight, and anything I do when I'm doing stuff in life. I start even doing this podcast, right? I like talking to people. I could talk about martial arts, bro. Me and you could sit down and we could talk for 8 hours,
Yeah.
right? And neither one of us shut up. That's what I like. This is what I like to do. But once you get momentum in doing something over and over, the process becomes easier to do. It's like a ball going downhill. It gets the
Yep.
momentum. It's easier to, object in motion is easier to stay in motion, right?
Yep.
So I just feel like once you get going, once you start like doing something, you get all them little mini go like, oh, I got that. Let me get the next one.
Yep.
Oh, okay, I got that. And I'm little mini. Then you look down, freaking 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 2, 3 years later of all these mini go. You're like, man, 3 years. I'm like, I'm so far away from. I'm so close to what I wanted to be, And it was
Yep.
just them little tiny mini goals, because you take something so grand, like, man, I want to go to the Olympics. I want to run a marathon, but I haven't ran at all in like 20 years, right? I want to run a marathon. That can get just so overwhelming. Taking that
Man.
huge goal all at one time, it gets so heavy, and you just
Yeah.
don't go anywhere, right? There's just kind of like trying to carry this big old,
I'm glad
goal.
I'm
You don't
glad you
go
brought
anywhere.
that up because in not only in my athletic career but also in my personal life, focusing on just the end goal has been my downfall in so many things and in almost every aspect of my life. Like I think I posted a live video. I didn't post a YouTube video about it, but those those short-term goals are so important, man. I mean, just sticking to MMA, I wanted to be GSP. I wanted to be UFC champ. That's all I thought about. Going to training. That's all I thought about every time I went into a fight, getting ready for a fight, and it led to me for mentally draining myself because GSP hits it this way and I didn't hit it perfect. Not taking into account GSP has a million reps of that, and I just learning the technique. Hurting myself trying to do things um, but doing it the wrong way, but still doing it the wrong way because I'm not putting in the reps because I have to be UFC ready. I have to be UFC title fight ready. Sparring too hard sometimes because in my head I'm like, this is the UFC belt on the line. This is my ticket in. Dana White's watching because I'm too
Hmm.
focused on that little goal.
Yeah.
Now, taking step back, like I said, even in my personal life too, taking step back, and okay, my goal for sparring today, I want to use more fakes. Okay,
Dude.
hey, I use more fakes today. I got a lot more stuff off. Um, you know, in your personal life, I want that car. That car's $17,000. I got $10 in my pocket. Okay, put $100, a day away or a week.
Right, right,
Next
right.
thing you know, you got $500 away. Oh, holy shit! I just put it away. I wasn't even thinking about it. Next thing you know, you got 1,000. Next thing couple months, you got the down payment. Now you got the car. You know, yeah, but if I'm still focused on that $17,000, I got to get that 17,000. It starts to drain your body and your mind. I keep thinking I got to be like GSP. I keep focusing on the negatives because I'm not GSP yet. I haven't put in the work that he has.
Right.
So I'm just mentally draining myself, and then things get boring. That's how people lose interest in things because they're too focused on the main goal. And leading up to this fight, I love that. That's my mindset now because I'm not focused on you know the next tournament after or the world team. I'm focused. Just let's get past the first fight. Let's get past this training session. you know
Right, right.
let's make it to the fight. Let's make it say on this 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
Those little goals, and it will make you more mentally clear. Just focus on one thing at a time, not try to eat everything in all at once. And like I said, man, in my personal life, outside of sports, that's been my downfall. Is just trying to get everything, the main goal, all the marbles all at once. No, and it doesn't happen like that. You chip away at that iceberg little by little, and like you said, the momentum. You achieve one, okay, let's keep it going. You got the next one. Next thing you know, hey, I'm right. I'm knocking on the door.
Momentum is my life, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. You laugh. I'm serious. In the fight, I'm big on momentum. Like, if you got the momentum, what can I do to change the momentum? When I got the momentum, the fight's almost over. Like, I ride the momentum. Seriously,
Right.
the momentum, the pace, the momentum of the exchange, the momentum of you going back and me going for. I'm using all those micro just to feel like if you got the momentum on the fight, what can I do to change it? I need it back. Like,
Right. Right.
so I got to the point where not just being like inside the fight, but just being like in life, using a lot of things I do in martial arts that carry
Right.
over. And momentum's been a huge one that I wrote down. I'm always trying to, what can I do to help get the momentum back? Like, oh, I haven't been doing this. Okay, I agree. Okay, I haven't been dieting. What can I do to help get some momentum back? All right, let's start making micro goals. Let's start preparing stuff. Let's start doing this and that. Let's start cutting out the excuses. Let's start, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, man, that's
I always
awesome.
say keep your eye on that end goal, but work on those short-term goals. Never forgetting the main goal, but always keep your eye. Work on the short-term goals, but keep your eye on that main goal because you're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're gonna wrap this up here. Juan Goins. And now, can anybody follow you? I know you starting a YouTube channel, right? Trying to just vlogging your progress of just training and now competing. You got anything? Anybody can follow you anywhere if they just want to look you up, see what's going on, check in on you, see how you can do it.
Yes, sir. On YouTube, it's just Juan Go Hard Goins, Goins. It's just pretty much a page, like you said, log in my process leading up to the fight, my opinion, and outside of sports too, like daily life. Like I'm a normal guy. I work a regular job. I have kids. I have bad days. I have good days. It's not just the flashy stuff. So it's a platform for young athletes. Pretty much anybody. Because in my opinion, combat sports relates to everyday life. It translates great. And I show the good, bad, and the ugly 100%. I don't have any sponsors or anything. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. So, yeah, YouTube, Juan Go Hard Goins. Instagram, it's Go Hard Fitness 216, and then on Facebook, it's just Juan Goins.
All right, awesome, awesome, man. We're gonna be looking out for you. I think I'm gonna find out for sure when I get more information. I think they're gonna live stream some of the tournament on one of their Facebook pages. So if so, I make sure to post those and give them to you so we can, or the family and whoever can't make it, they can at least watch from home or whatever. So
Awesome.
make sure to check you out. Thanks for being on here. We're gonna come back on here after the tournament so we can talk a little bit
Oh, for sure,
about
for sure.
your first experience fighting and traveling and all that other fun
Yeah.
stuff. So thanks for coming on, bro. Inside the Fight, man. Thanks. I definitely appreciate this. All right.
No problem. Anytime.
Peace.